Hello, my name is Simon Adams of Moonstar Board Games. In this series, what I like to do is look at a game which I really like or even love and explain why so that you might decide whether or not this is something that you are interested into, that this game is something that you might want to pick up too. Um, let's. I just got a notification. Okay, let's get rid of that notification. This isn't how to play these games. I won't be going into the nitty gritty details of how to play them. If after you hear what I have to say about the game, you're interested in that, please, you will find those videos all over YouTube. Just search the board game name plus how to play, and you will find those. But in today's video, we are going to look at Undaunted. This is Undaunted Normandy. I have in my box, I have Undaunted Normandy and I have Undaunted North Africa. There is a Undaunted Stalingrad, which is a campaign legacy version, which I don't have or haven't played. There is a Reinforcements pack, which I believe adds a single player and also extra units for the game. And I believe there's also a fighter pilot version too. So, Undaunted Normandy, Undaunted North Africa, as the title suggests, honestly, as the art suggests, is a tactical war game. In this game, you will be representing, in the case of Undaunted Normandy, which we'll just talk about Normandy just to keep things simple. North Africa, you're the Italians are the long range desert group, the long range desert group in the Italians, I believe, but we'll keep it simple. We'll just talk about Normandy. In Normandy, you're either Nazi Germany or you are the Americans. Or, well, allies. Even though everything has the American military star. You're the Allies or you are you're Nazi Germany. So, in the game, you will have a map that you will make up, and we'll talk about that in a second. You will have little men, represented by these tokens that have some numbers on them and some iconography, and you will have cards that represent the men. You will be playing the cards so you'll be pulling from your own personal deck into your hand and playing the cards to move your men around, to shoot, and to do a few other things. The core conceit of the game is that it is actually a deck builder. So as you play through the game, you'll be able to acquire new cards into your hand, which might allow you more freedom in what you can do with units. You might also get rid of cards, and so decrease and increase the opportunity for a card to come up that allows you to manipulate one of your men. If you have a lot of cards in your deck, you might be some time before you find a card that allows you to use your anti-tank person. Conversely, if you have a very sharp deck, well, you will be getting access to the anti-tank, but you might not be getting access to too much else. So you have to really focus and double down on the strategy that tactics strategy, I guess, that you're trying to employ. So the core conceits of deck building are there, just in a tactical skirmish war game. Another important part to note, because I love this part, some people are not going to like this part, is that it is a dice game. When someone shoots, you will be rolling a dice to see whether or not you hit. And for some people, because some of these guys are not very good at shooting, and so for some people, it might be difficult to stomach all of your guys missing. I've played dice games forever, and so it doesn't bother me. I am staunchly in the camp that dice makes memories, right? They make these crazy moments where the underdog overswings and kills something it shouldn't, or there's a grand failure and a whole strategy falls apart. Those are things that you talk about and you remember and bring you back to a game time and time again, which Normandy does do, and I'll talk about why in a second. But do be aware that Normandy is a tactical war game, but it is also a deck builder, and it is also a dice game. So deck building has inherent randomness. You can try to adjust randomness in your deck by, like I say, increasing the efficiency of the deck by getting rid of cards. But that depends on your strategy. Pulling cards is inherently random. Rolling dice is inherently random. If you want a perfect information game, you want a perfectly deterministic game. Additionally, Normandy isn't for you. So then the question kind of is, who is Normandy for? And again, I preface, I love this game, I really do. But it's a war game, not really for war gamers because it's a bit too variable. But it's a deck builder, so it's kind of casual too. And so, do casual people want to play war games? Especially, and I'll be frank, especially Normandy. Who's going to play the Nazis? Right? Who's going to play Nazi Germany? Is an interesting question. I I would say that this is a game. This is a game to play kind of with your dad or your uncles. You know, like middle aged middle aged men who don't have the time to learn a full war game, right? They don't have a time. They don't have the time rather than a time for that. This will allow them to kind of scratch the itch of playing that kind of a game without having to learn a huge rule set. It's a very actually straightforward and simple game to play. That simplicity kind of works against its theme, but I feel like for for not just men, but just people who are interested in history but don't have the time for the kind of war game that a lot of people consider is required in order to appreciate World War II in a game format. Uh, I think Undaunted Normandy, Undaunted just generally is fantastic. You can teach an older person this very, very quickly, or a younger person very quickly too. Of course, I'm not saying this is just for old men. Please believe me, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if there's a perfect person, it's either a history geek or an old man who loves World War II. Right? Uh, let's call it an apple and a spade a spade. Um, for playing with your dad, uncles, or whatever, this is a fantastic game. I like this game because this is a scenario based game. This game does not make the pretense of balance. So when you play a game of Undaunted Normandy, you will get or you will be provided with a scenario, and it's actually a scenario game. You can play through the whole campaign. You can play it as a campaign game for each scenario. I haven't and don't, and we'll talk about why in literally a second. Well, not literally a second, in like a minute. But in this game, you'll pick a scenario. The scenario relates to an actual tactical skirmish within World War II. For instance, this is the assault to the Vireto Canal, in which, in Lauret, in 15th of June 1944, the 30th Infantry Division's first action was on the morning of 15th of June. And then it has a little spiel about what you're doing. It will tell you what your units are, which units you have available to you in your deck, and it will also have the map and the setup and where your guys go, as well as your contrasting and conflicting objectives. In this game, in this scenario specifically, the US and the Germans have the same objective, which is to control 5 objective points, but they will differ as you go through, and different scenarios will have different objectives for the two different sides. The first scenario, and I've played through the whole, but the first scenario is a difficult scenario, but I'm here to tell you that don't worry, it is unbalanced. But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing because inherently in war there are situations which are unbalanced. If you want something that accurately depicts the variability of warfare, and I hesitate to talk about it like this because this is a casual game in terms of its rule overload, but because of that casual and variability of its rule overload, I think it does a very good job of mimicking the unknowable nature of a tactical skirmish, as well as the simple fact that one side is going to be stronger than the other. I like this game a lot because, and I've played through it all. I played through all of this, some of North Africa, and I've played through a couple of these scenarios many many times because they are unbalanced. And so I played. I remember the first time I played this game, I played as the Allies. I played as America. Like all the signs are yeah, no, it is US. It does say US. It keeps on saying Allies, but it really just should say the US objective. Yeah, they're all US. Yeah, you're playing as United States versus Germany, basically. I played as the US versus the Germans, and man, the first time we played, the Germans just annihilated the game. It was so easy, and we were like, man, this is really unbalanced. Like it's so easy for the German side to win. And for an introductory game, I think that's poor. It's poor of Undaunted to do that. But we then played it again, and I was like, no, I'm gonna figure this out. Like I'm gonna crack this apple. I'm gonna play the United States again. And we played it, I think 4 or 5 more times. I think I won it on the third time, then Germany, then me again, until we got it to be balanced. And so if you're into solving tactical puzzles, solving tactical problems, and you don't mind imbalance because it affords you the opportunity to think tactically and think creatively in order to solve the imbalance, then Undaunted is a fantastic game. It really is. I wish I had minis. All right, I said it. I said it. I'm only gonna. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, the game doesn't. The game's art is fine, and I think it's fine for the people that it is going to attract as a war game. But I think I could have been upped a little bit. The game is living on its mechanisms, which are very very interesting, and the scenarios which give you a unique, I think, in war games, at least board games and board games, a unique insight into the lack of deterministic, objective understanding of what is going on and what is going to happen. I find that a lot of war games, they the games thrive on having everything mapped out. Everything is certain. Everything is sure, so that it is as balanced as possible. But that's not the reality of war. War is random. War is variable, and war is tactical. And so sometimes playing a game like Undaunted Normandy, at least for me, reminds me that it's that first and foremost, dice tell stories, dice create stories. But secondly, it's really nice to sit down with a problem with someone else and crunch out the solution. I'm saying all these words that I feel people aren't going to find appealing. If you like Warhammer, you'll like Undaunted Normandy. If you like history, you like Undaunted Normandy. If you like deck building, there's probably other better, more suitable games than Undaunted Normandy, but will not tell a story like Undaunted Normandy. Not because the game is telling a story to you, but because you are creating the story. The dice is telling stories. When your guy dies, he is told his story. This is an opportunity, I think, in a board game to find the poignancy in war, as something that is fairly alien to most people. I think it's an opportunity to kind of find that poignancy. Uh, well, it's also still a good game. It's not a good game. It's a fucking great game. I love this game. Like I say, we played that first night. We played the first scenario 5 times, and it wasn't boring because it wasn't like it was me playing the weak faction versus my friend playing the difficult faction. It was we were both trying to work it out. Like he was playing Nazi Germany, but we were both trying to figure out like, okay, what do we do if we're okay? What do we do here? Like how do we solve this problem to overcome the odds? I do think that the first scenario could have been more balanced, just so that people don't hit that, oh my god, this is terribly unbalanced kind of hurdle. But if you don't mind that, if you don't mind rolling dice, you don't mind the game kind of uh, causing you to trip over yourself by you not rolling the dice and the dice not giving you what you want and your deck not giving you what you want every now and again, I think you can have an amazing experience with Undaunted, and certainly I have. I haven't purchased the expansions yet. I have to get through North Africa first. And again, it's a game that doesn't appeal to everyone. I really only have one friend who will play this with me. Um, but what a game! What a game it is to play with that friend. It really is. So, Undaunted, Undaunted Normandy. Go check it out.